All right, welcome back, everybody. It has been a minute. I'm sorry. I had surgery. Sue me, okay? So this is the next in the series of how to drift, okay? And first video, we went over initiation types, donuts, and weight transferring, okay? So just to do a quick recap here, I will go over, this is part of the thing we're going to go over here as well. So let me just set this up. So I'm using the Gravy Garage JZX 90 or JZX 100, I believe. But this will be, what you're seeing me do here is something that, like I said, we'll go over that in a minute, okay? So anyway, oh, it has been a minute. Okay, so we are in Brooklyn Park, by the way. So what you can do for like reference points, right, is to, if you want to like do what you did last time, or if you've been working on it, right, you just dump the clutch essentially, and then your goal is to just get as close to that marker as possible. Right, so that was the purpose of donuts, okay? Simple enough. And then the different types of initiation, right? So you could do just the natural power over, right? Which is basically just laying on the throttle and then doing what you need to do, right? And then the other one was clutch kicking, right? So clutch kick, throws the back end out, and super smooth, right? Clutch kick again into the transition. But yeah, good times. So, and then the other one was weight transferring on straightaways, right? So, boom, there is no straightaways here, so work with me, you know. But so, we can still kind of do it here. Right? All right, you guys get the gist. That's what we went over last time. Okay, so this video, a lot of things that we're going to go over. Maybe not a lot of things, but some more fundamental things, I guess, but more in depth on those fundamentals. Okay, so the first thing that matters is your setup. Okay, first thing you want to go to, especially if you are in a Gravy Garage car, is get out of those semi-slicks, because those things are so grippy and it's going to make your life miserable when you're trying to learn. Just straight up, okay? That's just what it's going to be. So these are the PSI settings that I personally prefer. If you were trying to replicate what I'm teaching you. Sorry, I dropped something. If you're going to replicate what I'm teaching you, I recommend doing these same settings, right? So the point of this is to have more grip in the rear and less grip in the front, okay? So your rear tires, you want to be pushing you forward, okay? And if you have no grip, you can't do that, okay? Your front tires, you want to have slightly less grip, based off of, you know, it comes down to your personal preference at some point. But I personally just like to have them as a general direction where the front cars are pushing them to, okay? Which sounds like, well, duh, that's what it's supposed to be, right? But the more you get into this, the more you'll realize how much you can really play with it. Like, some people will run like 32 PSI. Some people will run 35. Some people will run this even lower, right? It just depends on the car you're in. But for average cars, right, regular drifting cars, I should say, that is the general principle that you want to stand by. Now, onto gear ratios. Again, this comes down to personal preference, okay? I am going to touch this a little bit. Do what you will with it, but this is a smaller track, so we only need about 72. I find that this gear set is more responsive than the R151. That's just my 2 cents. I don't know why, but it is what it is. So anyway, so that is that is like the fundamentals for your setup. Don't touch anything else. Don't worry about it. It's not important right now. Okay, there's a million other people you can go watch for that sort of thing, because I will probably not get into actual setup specifics for at least another year. Okay, just straight up. So what we're going to focus on right now is throttle control. Okay. So if you look at the top left, right, you can see the green, right? That's gas, right? So that's kind of what I want you to be paying attention to. So what your goal here is, you want to keep your gas steady as possible. That is the goal here, right? Because in theory, you should only be accelerating or decelerating for a transition, okay? So the goal here is just to have a steady throttle position to get you through that corner, okay? And then this is going to require you to actually use your steering wheel a little bit, right? So you get I don't really have to go into it too much, right? So like if you go too much throttle, right? So too much throttle, right? You're just gonna steer out, right? So you're gonna spin out if you have too much throttle, right? Pretty straightforward, right? Or if you don't have enough throttle, you're just gonna straighten out, right? Like you can see, my foot is still on the gas, right? So let's do it again. Right, so like not quite enough, right? It's just gonna straighten you out. Even so, like let's go through a transition so you can see it again, right? All right, so not enough gas, right? It's just gonna straighten the car out. I didn't let my foot off the gas, but I used significantly less, right? Okay, so the importance of that, okay, is when you use less throttle, when you have, like, let's say you have too much angle, right? You need to let out, and then you can save yourself, right? Or if you're not using too much throttle, you can clutch kick and slam the throttle and save yourself, right? So like right there, I was going too slow. I didn't have enough speed, so I had to do more gas, right? Okay, so let's do that again on purpose, right? So give too much gas, clutch in, save yourself, and then you can keep going, right? Or not enough, right? You clutch kick and then full on the gas, correct yourself. So, well, we went through that a lot quicker than I thought we would. I'm not gonna lie. At least for throttle control, right? So we can. Those are the important bits of it. I don't want to talk that part to death. So, if you have questions, leave them in the comments. Join my Discord, and we can talk about them, right? So, that being said, we are going to talk about posture habits, okay? And we'll get back to the regular drifting here in a minute. Trust. Okay, posture habits. I said this in the first video. Try to let yourself let go of the wheel sometimes, right? Because I can all but like not touch my wheel, okay, in some cars, right? In this car, in the Gravy Garage cars, there's a little bit more force feedback. I should say a lot more. So it's a little bit more important to keep your hands on the wheel, but it should be a good practice to let the wheel float in your hands, right? So like when the wheel is turning, right? When we go in through a transition, right? There's like a solid 2 or 3 seconds where I am not touching the wheel, right? So let's try it again. So like right here, I'm barely touching my wheel, like at all, right? Same thing. Like your hands are a guide for the wheel. You are not doing a lot of the work once you get there, right? As long as you have good throttle control, right? Which is something you need to work on. Your wheel is just corrective action for like the small inputs, right? Like right here, I'm barely turning. But this feels like way more force feedback than what I'm used to. But I'm also really weak right now, so maybe I'm just being a little wuss. It's probably that, let's be honest. So, some other posture habits. Make sure you're sitting up straight. Make sure that everything is within arm's length. This is going to be very different for everybody else, right? My wheel is sitting about 1.5 feet away from me. because I'm a very big person, right? My e-brake and my shifter are both about the same distance, maybe a little bit further because I have long dinky arms, right? My wheels, I mean, I sit back and lean back when I drive, so like, yeah, but you want to set everything up so you're comfortable, right? Because when I first started, everything hurt all the time because I just was not sitting in the right position, I wasn't breathing, and so on and so forth. So very, very important, because now I can drift for hours without feeling a dang thing. Your chair is also important. I want to stress that a lot. Your chair matters, okay? I have been shifting through like a table chair, a lawn chair, and like my gaming chair, right? I didn't wheel my gaming chair over tonight because I just like could not be bothered to, because I already had a kitchen chair here. So tonight my choice was laziness, all right? I wanted to be able to focus on you guys, not my comfortability. So those are like the fundamentals of posture. You just want everything right where it needs to be, not closer, not farther. And that is going to take, like, if you are just getting into this and just setting up your rig, that is going to be just the most essential thing, is where everything is on your hands, okay? Because if you're just smushed up trying to make things work, it's not going to happen, right? So not going to talk that one to death either. We're going to jump right into the next thing, which is left foot braking. I talked about this a little bit in some past videos. I talked about it minorly in our last how to drift. So, all right. So there's a lot of different ways to do this, okay? Essentially, you're going to use your left foot brake, right, to hold a line. Okay, so like we're going to hold this line, right, and you're going to have to steer with it, right? Your goal here is when you've gotten throttle control down, okay? Give me a second, right? Then you know whether or not you need to full gas it or not, okay? There's a couple of different ways to practice this, okay? The easiest way, go to a full stop, dump the clutch, and just put your foot on the brake, right? And you don't even need full brake, right? If you look at the top left, the red is the brake. I could go down all the way to like 25%. Or I could just increase it a little bit, right? A lot of different ways to go, okay? That is the easiest way to practice. So again, clutch in, smash the gas, right? Let go, immediately put your left foot on the brake. Okay? And eventually, you can use it, second gear, lol. You can use it to fix your line, okay? So I need to go out a little bit, right? Or I want to slow down for this one, right? And it's just going to hold that line. Now, the advanced portion of this is where things get a little hairy, okay? Things get a little hairy when you are trying to use it as a way to let the person behind you get closer, okay? So, say somebody's in a tandem, right? Like somebody's trying to follow you and they're just not quite getting close enough. You can just hold your brake, right? And you're slowly let off. Whoop. Ooh. Slowly let off. Right? So brake, slowly let off, okay? Because what's also going to happen if you're not careful, okay, is you're going to brake and then you're going to unbrake and then you're going to have this slingshot effect on the rear of your car. Okay, I talked about that in the last video. I'm going to demonstrate that again, okay? So, brake, and then now you've gone too far and your car just propels forward, okay? So, you want to ease in on the brake, right? So, let's do it again. So, ease in, ease off, right? Ease in, fix your angle, ease off. Ease in, ease off, right? Because otherwise you're just going to clear a bunch of distance from the person that you were just trying to tandem with, and it is going to be miserable for them to try and catch up, because it is just as much your responsibility as the lead driver to help your tandem driver, right? Your follower. Okay, so I feel like we went through that pretty quick. I'm not gonna lie. Well, You know what? I'm going to tag some just casual drifting I kind of need it. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to cue some other music, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Bye.